Hey everyone, Ryan from Ebike Escape, and today we are continuing the conversation about security. Now, in my last video, I reviewed the ABUS Bordeaux Big 6000 alarm. This was a folding lock that, in addition to being a lock, also has an embedded alarm. I will have a link to that video in the show notes, and I'll also put a link somewhere here in this video. But along with that lock, ABUS also sent me this floor anchor. So this is exactly what the name implies, is a way for you to secure your electric bike to the floor or wall. And this is useful for folks who might not necessarily be able to bring their electric bike inside. ABUS has been around the security business since 1924, so these are really high quality floor anchors. They also make them, or they're commonly also used to secure motorcycles and those sort of things. This specific model is the ABUS Granit WBA75. There isn't a whole lot more to talk about. I will show just how I plan on using this in my own garage, but I think this is really an accessory that folks should be aware of. So let's get to it. So as you saw earlier, this comes in two pieces. This is just a plastic piece. I believe that's just for looks. And then you have this second piece, and then you have the ring. The ring is 14 millimeters thick, so it is quite large. Hopefully you can kind of tell from the camera. And so it would go mounted like this. I'm actually not going to mount this yet because I'm currently rearranging my garage and I'm not sure where I want to put this. So, and then I wanted to go through, just show the instructions so you know what to expect if you were to purchase one of these. So basically, you mark the holes of where you need to drill, and then you need to use a 16 millimeter bit, it looks like there, and then you drill 80 millimeters into, it looks like, I know this is meant to be primarily used with concrete. Obviously, they don't recommend wood. Looks like this one might be, the top right one might be brick, not sure. But either way, I think a majority of people are going to be drilling into concrete. That's what most garages are. And so basically what you do is you drill the hole, and then obviously you clean it up, and then you pound these pieces in like so. And then what's going to happen is once those are in place, then you put the mount over it, and then you can imagine this being in the ground, and then you have these big old bolts that will go in there to secure the lock. They'll obviously go, this will be underground, but then that'll go through, and then you screw this down. And then what's kind of clever is this is basically meant not to move. So, you know, if you move somewhere or, you know, it's probably going to stay there, because then what you do is you take these bearings and you put them in the hole, and then you take a hammer to it, and then, you know, there's no real easy way to remove it at that point, and then they do recommend you using some grease. So that's kind of how it sets up. And then I'm going to show, just for instance, if this is where I was going to lock it up, just how I would use the ABUS Bordeaux Big 6000 alarm lock in conjunction with the floor anchor. If you've seen my recent video, I also reviewed this lock. I really like the ABUS locks that have the alarm. This is the bigger model, but definitely worthy of consideration as well. Okay, so here's just one example of a way that you might use this floor mount in conjunction with the lock. You can see I have it looped around, actually the wheel, just the spokes, and then also the frame as well. Typically when you lock up your bike, you do want to try to see if you can lock up both the wheel as well as the frame, because then it prevents someone from stealing, for instance, just the rear wheel. I know it would be a little bit more difficult to remove these, but you know, if someone has the proper tools, it's not quick release, but they still could pop that off fairly easily. So hopefully this gives you an idea. The other thing worth mentioning is the floor mount actually can be mounted to a wall. So something to think about if you're depending on your situation, where it's going to be easiest for you to mount this. I will put a link in the description to these floor mounts, different options that they have. I definitely do think this is something worth considering, mainly because your bike isn't just going to be stolen when you're out and about. I've seen many people who have gotten bikes stolen out of garages detached to their homes, or even attached to their homes, or outside, or they're using kind of some other place to store their bike where folks might see it more often. So definitely something to consider for security. And then, that, like I mentioned earlier, and when I reviewed this lock, that this has the alarm on it. So that would provide a pretty good deal of security. Definitely something worth considering. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support what I'm doing with Ebike Escape, here are 3 easy ways. Number 1, use my link in the description. When you're buying a rad power bike, you will earn a $50 Amazon gift card. I will receive one as well. Number 2, view my list of recommended accessories. You can find this list at ebikeescape.com. Click on e-bike accessories right at the top, otherwise link in description. Number 3, if you own a rad power bike, you can join the forum at radowners.com. Thanks again for watching.